Hi everyone, this is Kelly from Kelly's Cards Florida, and I'm here to share some cards that I made for the Nevermore Creations design team. I received a Antique Aviary Digital Kit from Lindsay Zenor with Nevermore Creations 17. It's her Etsy shop, and I'm excited to show you these cards that I created. I made all of these on a cream card base, and here's the first card that I made. I used some wallpaper that I had and cut the background rectangle, and then this is one of the digital images from the kit, and I just layered that on there. And then on the background I had a variety of feather stamps, and I stamped those in chocolate chip ink from Stampin' Up, and I also used chocolate chip ink on these little bird houses that I stamped and then cut out with my brother's scan and cut machine, and then I just used some seam binding tape for a cute little bow. Then the next card, again, I used the variety of feather stamps and just stamped it on some craft cardstock and layered that on my card base. And then I used 2 pieces of wallpaper and used a stitch rectangle die to cut those out. And then the pocket was included in the kit, as well as this tag, and I just layered that up on some heavy brown cardstock. And you can write a little sentiment on the back or whatever. I haven't decided what I'm going to use that for. And then I also cut the little buttons out with some dies that I had and just used some beige twine for the thread on those. This is one of my favorite. I think the blue and the craft and the brown ink just turned out so well using them all together. This again was one of the images from the kit, and I cut that out with a stitched rectangle die, and then I used the next size up and cut it with the beautiful blue cardstock. This actually was a different color cardstock. This was a glossy and this is a flat, but I thought they were close enough to use them on the same card. And then I used a Cuttlebug embossing folder for the background and for the little banner here, border here, and then again a couple buttons on there and blank inside. This one I used a rectangle die to cut the scallop rectangle with some burgundy cardstock, and then layered the cut apart on there. I cut that out with just using a paper cutter to match it up. And then again, I used the variety of feather stamps on the background, and then a little flower that I had created from several flowers I had in my stash. This one is very similar to the other one that I made. This one though, I did use a bird and vine. It's kind of hard to see. Background embossing folder for the background, Cuttlebug, and then I hit that with some pretty pink ink just on the raised parts, but I covered up a lot of it, so it's kind of hard to see, but you get a little bit of it peeking out. Again, this little pocket was in the kit, as well as this beautiful bird picture here, and I just used yellow twine that I had in my collection to bring out the yellow from the birds. And again, 2 layers of wallpaper that I had, and I used 2 different sizes of stitch rectangle dies, and again the bird cage, I cut that out with my brother's scan and cut machine. This is another one of my favorite. I just think the blue is so pretty with some of these images. So I decided to cut a circle image, cut the bird out with a circle die to capture the image, and then I layered that on the blue glossy cardstock that I had, and as well as the thank you. And I used a Cuttlebug embossing folder on the background, and then just hit it the top of the raised area with chocolate chip ink from Stampin' Up. And then I found these real pretty metal button or little metal gems in my collection, and thought those matched the blue pretty good, so I just threw a few of those on there. I think it's hard to say which is my favorite. I have 3 favorites, but I think this is one of my favorite. I have this really, really pretty stitched decorative square die that I had in my collection, so I cut out the image with that. And then I have a postage stamp die that gives kind of a postage stamp effect to the edges, and I used some tan crackled wallpaper and cut that out. Again, the same variety of feather stamps and the buttons and the little bird cage. I don't know. And then I popped this up with foam tape, and I think this is probably my favorite card. I think it turned out so cute. And then here's the last card that I made. I just used some green cardstock and layered that up on the tan card base. The same burgundy color, I cut that using a stitched and scalloped die, rectangle die. Cut that out, layered on the beautiful bird image, and then added a flower from my collection. I also used the chocolate chip ink just to kind of distress the green to kind of tone it down a little bit. But I hope that you enjoyed these cards, and I'll have all the links below to Lindsay's shop so you can check it out. She has so many beautiful kits. Most of the ladies use them for junk journals, but I'm a card maker, so I just put my own spin on them and turn the images into cards, and I think these are just fabulous. I have several images that I did not use that I plan on making more cards with, and again, I'll have all the links to Lindsay's shop below so you can check it out. Thanks so much.